Well, hello, and welcome to episode 246 of Drink the Movies. I'm Brian here, as always, with Michaela, and today we're carrying on with our holiday season, and we're going to be talking about a newer holiday film came out in 2022 on Apple TV Plus, Spirited. But before we get into that, Michaela, I just had one thing to say to you, and that's
Mm.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Brian. I don't really believe that good afternoon is really that big of an insult. Maybe it is.
Maybe it was in the
Maybe it
in the
was in
18th
1640
century.
or
Yeah,
whatever Charles Dickens, the Dixonian, uh,
Dickensian. You were close, I
Dickensian.
think.
Thank you. Follow me for how not to speak English. I'm an American. All right. Yeah. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's the worst thing you could say to somebody. It was like telling someone to F off. Okay. I think that happens still. And now it's the good morning or it's bless your heart. Bless your heart.
It's one of those. It's one of those passive aggressive things that we're going to
Mm.
explore in Spirited as we get into that today. But yeah, we're gonna talk about all that. We're going to mix up a cocktail talking about Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. We're going to be talking about all of that stuff. But before we do that, we need to get into a cocktail. So let's do that first. So let's grab some Jack Daniels, and we'll be right back to mix up this week's drink.
So, Brian, I had never heard, it's not that I'd never heard, I had never seen this film. And so when we were looking at cocktails, I wanted something that actually looked like it was going to taste good, something that was Christmassy, something that was a little bit different than what we'd done before. And I looked at something and I had sent it to you, and then you just responded and sent me this because this looks delicious. And I'm very excited about it because very seldomly do we really add a lot of maple syrup to our drinks. And um, and so I worry that it's going to be too pancakey, kind of, or maybe too sweet. But this old fashioned is really, really cool. And I think it's the maple syrup that really brings it all together.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, you have a couple of drinks in Spirited that are mentioned, right? They have some very warm, very terrible beer back in the I don't know 1700s in England, and yeah, probably. I've never been to the 1700s in England, but I can imagine that that beer probably was not very good, not what we would think of as beer today. So hey, that's true. He does. Ryan Reynolds' character, Clint does offer his like like 14-year-old niece a Negroni in the film, so that's pretty fun. That's pretty fun. We could have done that. We could have done that. But instead, we're going to be talking about the Jack Frost Old Fashioned, which is a fun little riff here on an old fashioned. It's nice. It's holiday themed. It's very simple to put together. This totally could have been a lobby bar cocktail, and I like this for a couple of reasons. Because A, it is delicious, and B, because it takes a lot of the work that a lot of these like wintry old fashions expect you to do. Right? It's just like a little like tip of the hat. Right? Good
Mm.
afternoon here to the old fashioned indeed. So let's go ahead and mix one of these up into a rocks glass. Go ahead and throw your largest ice cube that you have in there. Just put it in there. It'll be fine. It's going to be nice and cold, and that's exactly what you want. On top of that, we're going to put 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. You could also use like an orange bitter here if you wanted to do that, but Angostura is the one that I went with. A half an ounce or so of maple syrup. That's a little bit more than a bar spoon's worth. You can totally eyeball that. You can measure it out if you want to get maple syrup in your jigger. I did not. I just kind of roughed it there on the maple syrup. And then 2 ounces of Jack Daniels. You could use like the single barrel for that. You could use like the Gentleman Jack for that, which probably would be the best version of Jack
Mm.
Daniels to use in this. I just used straight up old number seven because the recipe I found did not specify which one it wanted in there. So the number seven is the one that I used. I probably would have been better suited to be using some Gentleman Jack, but we'll talk about that here in a second. Go ahead and take your bar spoon, or your finger if you're feeling if you're feeling fancy. Give that a stir, and then garnish it with an orange peel and a cinnamon stick. Now, a lot of these old-fashioned wintry things will be like you have to make like a cinnamon simple syrup with I don't know some allspice berries and things in that. Nah, just use a little bit of maple syrup. Stick your cinnamon stick down in there. You get that aromatic pop on your nose,
Mm.
and that's where you're tasting things through anyway. Sip and enjoy, and watch Spirited.
Yeah. I will say, I want to talk a little bit about this maple syrup business because not all maple syrups are created equal. We're not talking about Mrs. Butterworth's or Pearl, the Pearl Company's version. We're talking about real maple syrup. So
Log
if
Cabin,
you,
I think, is the one I
yeah,
always used. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, just something that's actually more maple syrupy than just like sugary. That
Mm.
being said, if you are, a mom or something and you don't have like access to that, you can go ahead and use the pancake syrup that is supposed to be maple syrup. Just know that it's gonna be real sweet. So I would maybe do like half and do like a quarter ounce, or maybe just like a teeny bit of the bar spoon. If you're going to eyeball it, just keep that in mind because this will become very sugary if you're not careful. And if you're going to do that, um, yeah, the orange peel and cinnamon stick, I really think bring out this. We talk a little bit about garnishes as being kind of a nice to have, but I think for this, the cinnamon stick is kind of a must. I think
Mhm.
it really just adds just this beautiful aromatic to it. It infuses just ever so slightly into the drink itself through the stick, and it's so simple, and it just really makes this a very complete, well balanced drink.
Yeah, absolutely. You could definitely do that. You could definitely jazz it up a little bit as well. Winterize it a little bit more. In the orange peel, you could take some cloves and stab those in there, like what we've done for
Mm.
for some like hot toddies and stuff like that. That'll give you a little bit more aromatic presence, but I don't think you need to. This is just a simple, perfect kind of nightcap sort of thing here on our busy days as we get into the winter and settle in to watch a movie. And that movie this week is Spirited. So let's do this, Michaela. Let's go ahead and mix up another one of these. I'm swapping out my number seven for some Gentleman Jack. I've got some maple syrup here. Honestly, people bite the bullet. I don't like to tell people how to spend their money, but it's like $8. It lasts forever. Get some real maple syrup, throw it in there, and then sit tight. We're going to be right back to chat about this week's film, Spirited.
How did you know all that?
I didn't. I was just following you.
You
I
were
didn't.
following me?
Yeah.
Oh, I messed up in the middle there.
Yeah.
A
I
little-
tap is new for me. It's
Yeah,
a very
yeah.
expressive medium.
Spoiler warning for Spirited. We're going to talk about Spirited, which came out in 2022. It's fairly new. It's worth your time. It's on Apple TV Plus. Go watch it. But we're going to talk about it. There's a couple of spoilers that happen, and so you've been warned. I also feel like for those that have no idea what Spirit is about, we're probably going to talk a lot about the Christmas Carol as well. So if you have been living under a rock your entire life here in America or in Europe, because I think Christmas Carol was pretty popular over there too. We're going to talk about that storyline as well. And you've been warned. I
Yeah.
feel like that did it justice. There we
Yeah.
go.
Basically, if you live in any part of the world that even kind of celebrates Christmas, you probably know of A Christmas Carol. But yeah, be warned out there because there are some twists to this, which is kind of fun. So, as Michaela mentioned, it was released on 2022 on Apple TV Plus, which I think was just kind of getting its foothold here. There was a big bidding war for this, and Apple TV Plus ends up winning the rights and way overspending for this talent. But that's a story for a different day because they get their benchmark holiday movie kind of right out there, right off the bat. So this was directed by Sean Anders, who was responsible for doing a lot of writing and a little bit of directing, kind of those like semi-adult kind of things. So like Hot Tub Time Machine, She's Out of My League, We're the Millers, wrote all of those things, done some directing, most notably like Daddy's Home and Daddy's Home 2, which stars Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg, there in those. So I think that's how that relationship got started and how this movie came together because this does star Will Ferrell. He is the ghost of Christmas Presents, and Ryan Reynolds is our unredeemable Clint Briggs, who is getting the ghost treatment this time around in the Dickensian style, as Michaela would say. So, Michaela, let's talk about this movie a little bit. You mentioned you'd never seen it. We were talking about what we wanted to do. We were changing up the schedule a little bit. Avatar has been throwing a wrench in our plans here all year long. Like for like the last like 5 years has been
Turn
throwing a wrench in
around.
there. So we were looking at the schedule, and some reason you mentioned this, and my guess is that you pulled up a list of Christmas movies and saw this on it and you said it out loud, and I said, well, that's good because it is my wife loves this movie. It came out in 2022. I think we watched it the day that it was released. I have watched it every year since then, but you had never seen it, so it was a good kind of movie that we had a little bit of familiarity with you with me, some new
Mm.
eyes on it from you. So I thought it would be good to talk about. So firing it up, Michaela. What were your I don't even want to say expectations. Let's just get into the movie. It's a musical.
Yeah, it's a musical. Yeah, it's a musical with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell. How can this be bad? I mean, I don't know. I feel like and I don't know if you're feeling this way as an adult in our 40 somethings, right? We talk about Christmas movies a lot here at Drink the Movies. It's probably one of the genres we cover the most of, to be honest. And I
Our
felt
first
this
episode
year,
was a
our,
Christmas movie.
it sure
Our
was.
first
And
four movies, I think, were Christmas movies.
yep. And so it's kind of like I felt maybe like viewers fatigue because we were like, hey, we want to, we're running out of really classic Christmas movies, and we've talked
Mhm.
about new ones that have done well, and we've talked about new ones that have kind of flopped. Um, I remember, the last couple of years, we're like, man, I don't, how are we going to continue this? And it's nice to see that there are still Christmas movies that are being made that are, I don't know, that are worthy of it. I don't know, guys. Remember, we like went and saw Red One, and both of us were like, this is not the best. I mean, it's fine, but it's not the best
Mhm.
Christmas movie. We didn't know if we'd watch that again. But this one is up there now. I had never seen it before, and I had no idea what I was getting into. And within the first like 30 seconds, they just start breaking out in song, and they're like, it's the afterlife, and it's a musical, because that's what we do here. And that is amazing. I hope when I die that Jesus is like, hey, here she is coming around. Here she is again. All right. Like that's the best. It sounds really great, actually.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, it
The
starts
Grim
off like
Reaper just comes out and is like, hello, my baby. Hello, my dad.
I was gonna say it starts like pretty cold open, right? You get the ghost of Christmas yet to come. They're all skeleton-y, and he's got Rose Byrne who's playing Karen Blansky, like getting sucked down into her grave. You're like, dang, this is pretty dark. And then you get the narrator that comes over. It's like, don't worry, she's fine, and it goes and we see kind of like her redemption story right there, which is really funny. She goes out the neighbors and she's like, I'm sorry, I called the HOA on you and like stole all of your packages, and all the kids are like, wait, what? But she's fine. She's totally redeemed here in this sense. And then we go back to the office, and it turns out that the whole like haunting business, this whole Charles Dickens affair of the Christmas Carol, is like this whole like industry, right? It's like its own like cottage industry in the afterlife, which is amazing because they start singing and dancing like full on musical production. I'm going to circle back to that here in a second, but maybe my favorite line in the whole movie is you get like the I don't know, she's like some like HR like given like a tour of like people that are like new to the department who I guess have recently passed away and got assigned in the afterlife to go work for this Christmas Carol haunting kind of a thing. And everyone's like, what's going on? And the lady that's leading it is like, oh yeah, the afterlife is a musical. And the girl to her right says, yes, I knew it. And the guy to her left says, you've got to be freaking kidding me, because I feel like that is exactly how people really feel about musicals.
Yep. Yep. You're either gonna love it or you're gonna hate it. Do you remember when we were watching and we were watching it for the Oscars, but we were watching Cyrano de Bergerac, and we start watching it, both of us together, and it apparently was a musical. Neither of us knew it, and both of us
Mm-hmm.
went, "Oh God!" And
Oh
we both
God.
love musicals, but we were like, "This is going to suck." Like, what is happening? I was not prepared for this because you have an expectation when you go to watch something that's a musical that it's going to be I don't know, like the cadence is going to be different, the plot development is going to change because you're going to have 8 or 10 songs that are going to kind of where nothing happens, but you're just kind of reveling in the emotional whatever is happening in that moment. That's the
Right.
beauty of a musical. So if you love that, great. If you don't love that, great, but you're not going to love this because it is literally like dives right on in. It takes itself not seriously at all, and yet it's a very serious musical. The musical numbers in the opening scene with the elves and everybody, like they're in an office, like a regular office, but they're all like running around and tap dancing everywhere. It's freaking amazing. I was like, this is a real production, which I don't know why I'm surprised because it came from Apple, and they, when whatever they put out is usually pretty great, but I was blown away by the
Yeah.
set design and the choreography of this non-musical Christmas movie that I never knew about.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up the name of the choreographer here, and I will find it at some point before we get through this. But yeah, absolutely. You made the first point that I wanted to talk about here. We get started, as I mentioned. It's kind of this number. It's that Christmas morning feeling, which is great. That's how we start the musical. That's how we end the musical, and more on that to come. the musical sections of this go freaking hard. I don't understand. Like they're like, you know what? Over the top as can possibly be, like Broadway, like on steroids, like turned up to 11, like all the things. This is going like absolutely nuts. It's bonkers, like how big of a production like the musical numbers are here. And let's just talk about a couple of these here right now because this one, the first one, is amazing. That Christmas morning feeling. You have like the whole like cast. You have the ghost right of Christmas, past, present, and future there. The whole like office staff is going nuts on all that stuff. It's really funny. You get some like kind of like in jokes and like poking fun at the story of A Christmas Carol, like in a lighthearted way, which I like a lot. You get that. You go to like Bringing Back Christmas, which is like Ryan Reynolds' introduction to the thing, where he's
Mm.
at like this convention, going nuts, like jumping on tables, doing all this stuff. Like I didn't even notice it. Like I've mentioned, I've seen this now, I think probably like 4 or 5 times since I've seen it, but I didn't even notice that like the end of that, like he's like sat in like this golden throne and it like pulls back and all of the rest of the dancers are in green. It makes this like perfect like Christmas tree because is it a Christmas tree like I, industry
Yeah. The
speaking
Christmas
engagement that
Tree
he had,
Farmers
which
Convention.
which is amazing. And then there's another one at the end of towards the end of the film. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's in the dark, and all the dancers have like these like flashlight things like sewn into their sleeves so they can like manipulate these beams of light. Like that's crazy. That's crazy. And I want to talk about the singing here, and then I'll turn it back over to you for any highlights or lowlights of the musical
Mm.
aspects of this. Um, but you get Will Ferrell singing here, right? Who's a good singer, right? Of course, you get Patrick Page, who I believe is playing Marley, right? There,
Mhm.
good singer, pretty good singer, right? You have Ryan Reynolds, good singer. You have Octavia Spencer, who I want to talk about here, who's in the movie, who's a good singer. But none of these people are like, I don't know, like crazy, like great singers. So I think it feels like more endearing to me. Like they're not like these operatic like singing like superstars. They're kind of like real people that are just really good at singing and also like good at acting that are doing this thing, and that makes it like lighthearted and charming in kind of a way, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think, and I'm looking at right now because I don't want to be wrong, but I want to say that Will Ferrell has been in um musicals before because I think he was in The Producers.
Oh, for sure. I'm not
Right,
trying
right,
to say that none
right.
of these people are talented, but it's not like you get like
No,
Idina Menzel out there to sing, right?
no, no,
Like
no, for
that's
sure.
like
But that's what I was saying is I think he's the only one though
oh,
because
okay. Yeah, yeah.
like Octavia Spencer is an acting goddess, right? But I'd never heard her sing, I don't think, before this. Um, Ryan Reynolds, he's funny. He's been in Deadpool. He's been, and there's been jokes about him and like moments with him and Hugh Jackman doing musical numbers, but I've never seen him in like a full-on musical before. So yeah, this was really surprising from a casting perspective because I was like, huh, I had no idea. And they all pretty much knock it out of the park. I mean, it's not it's not a Dina Menzel-ish, right? But I think that they all like I don't know if they made the music while they were like if they had to tweak it a little bit to fit their specific style and vocal tonality, right?
Hmm.
Because I feel like the song about the view from here that Octavia Spencer does, if it had been anybody else, they would have had to change it because just the way she said, I can't imagine anybody else doing it better than her. So it just felt like it was just made for her voice. So I don't know how they created all that, but I was very impressed with the ability that they had because they were all dancing around. I mean, all over the place. Ryan, I don't know how Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds didn't break something because they're all over when they're dancing around with the actual dancers behind them. I mean, all of it is just really well done, and I was not expecting that from this cast. And I mean that in the lovingest way possible. I mean it in the compliment that it is because it's pretty great.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And you get like the whole range of songs there. You have some songs that are just meant for like fun and like the world building aspects of it. You get songs that are meant to like propel the story along. You kind of everything like in between. Chloe Arnold was the lead choreographer here for this, and really quite a monumental thing she had done. Uh, She had done choreography for the James Corden's Late Late Show. She's done So You Think You Can Dance. She's done stuff for Good Morning America, but it seems like this is her first like full on like feature film like musical thing that she's done
Mm-hmm.
and knocked it out of the park. It's incredible. It's incredible. So we mentioned this is kind of a sort of a retelling of A Christmas Carol, a kind of a roundabout way. As I mentioned, it's kind of setting up this world where the world of Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol is like a real life like actual thing that just happens every year. Like they pick someone out and go and try to change their prospectus on the world, and that's going to then ripple out into the world, which is kind of one of the main cruxes of the film. And I like that a lot. And that's where we get Clint Briggs, played by Ryan Reynolds. He is deemed, as an unredeemable. And it turns out that this company of people have only ever saved one unredeemable. More on them in just a moment. But it turns out that this is a pretty bad dude, right? Who's gonna go. He's basically working in this like modern industry of like shit posting on the internet, basically to turn the tide in favor of politicians and actors and all of those things that you associate with that kind of world and industry to it. And that kind of is like the crux of the film, basically, right? As he's talking to Will Ferrell here in this section, and he's like, it's not that I'm terrible. It's that the whole world has changed, right? And you've been doing this now for he says he's been doing it for like 46 years and he's been dead for like 200 years. He's like, has the world really gotten any better from all of this tomfoolery that you ghosts are getting into? I don't think so.
Yeah, I that argument that he makes is pretty incredible because he's like, every year you pick somebody new, they call him a perp. You pick somebody, you spend a year learning about their entire life and their past and putting all this stuff together and making them have this moment where they confront their past and sit with their present and like are terrified of their future and that scares them good. But is that really doing anything? Which is interesting because at the very beginning, you hear the narrator, you hear the ghost of Christmas Present talk about like, is change really possible? Can a person truly change who they are? Can a person become good? And it's interesting because Ryan Reynolds is like, look, for number one, I'm not that bad. And number two, like, no one does change. Like, my mom was still awful. My sister was still human. Like, and the one thing that my awful mom taught me was that it's okay to be awful. Like, no one changes. There's no redeeming. There's that, even if I was unredeemable, how bad is that really? Because the entire world is this way. And a little, you know, sleight of hand in this ghost extravaganza that is happening isn't going to really do much.
Yeah, absolutely. You get this sleight of hand there, and that's like I said, that's the crux of the story, right? That's kind of the message we're meant to take away from it, and maybe the message that Clint is meant to come around on here through the story. Let's talk about the ghosts here a little bit. So we have Will Ferrell, of course, as the ghost of Christmas Present. We've also got the ghost of Christmas Past, played by Sunita Mani. She is hilarious. She's been in a couple of things that I like a lot. Glow, I think, is what I remember her from the most, but I love her because she's like so self-confident and how much Ryan Reynolds is into her, which I think is incredible. I love that a lot. You also have the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, who is played by Lauren G. Woods. That's who you see on screen, but Tracy Morgan is doing the voice here for the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. And I love the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come because he's just like a big skeleton guy and he just points at stuff. And I even love that. He's like, all I get to do is point at stuff. I want to say some things, and that's pretty funny there too. But as we're taking Clint along this journey, right? So of course he has his run in with the Ghost of Christmas Past. They apparently do some, adult activities, and she ends up leaving the case. So that leaves the Ghost of Christmas Present to go in and take care of the past and the present. So enter Will Ferrell here, and this is the next part where this movie goes like way too hard. Like, what are you even doing? Spirited is insane. The musical numbers are insane. The set design also insane. As we transition from scene to scene, as he's dialing up all these memories in Clint's imagination, and I love this because we've talked about a couple times now in Christmas movies that I love things that like try to like conceptualize like how like the North Pole works, right? Like how Santa like actually works. Like that
Yeah.
is really neat to me that people like try to like figure that out and put that on screen. Also really neat how you could try to imagine how the Christmas Carol would actually work.
Right. Right. Where you have all these set pieces moving around these people, and he's like, all right, can I get I you missed the cue. The line was it's gonna be a bumpy ride or whatever he says, right? And they kind of fly through the air and do all these cool things. And I love both of the transitions where like you're in one place. So you have the Ghost of Christmas Present and you have Clint, right? And they're sitting there together and then they move slightly and everything kind of shifts around them. So they went from being in a hospital room to a library to a bar or whatever. Um, and then there's the ones where they're actually kind of plucked from the scene that they're in and they fly through the sky and they end up going through somewhere else. Both are amazing and both have been depicted in other shows, but
Mhm.
not quite the same way, which I really like because I think that this is a film that has that caters to so many different viewpoints of who Santa is, how does the afterlife work, how does Christmas work in general, can you change? This is a total retelling of the Christmas Carol. And if you'll remember, my favorite Christmas movie was the famous Scrooge, which was another telling
Yep.
of the Christmas Carol. And this had it like pays homage to all this old stuff that happens because you go
Yeah.
back and you see like in Charles Dickens' time, you see some things that are very, from the original Christmas Carol, but also like in this new modern version, it's even more kind of fantastical
Mhm.
and I don't know. I think that the transitions are great.
I think Clint even mentions Scrooged by name. It pays a lot of little winks and nods to like popular culture and the popular culture telling of the Christmas Carol stories. And Scrooge certainly is in there because Clint Briggs is much more akin to like Bill Murray's character in Scrooge, right? Than you have in the original telling of Ebenezer Scrooge there to that end. And spoiler warning, if you really haven't seen Spirited and you want to, maybe turn your ears off here for the next minute or two. But as it turns out, the Ghost of Christmas Present gets into a little bit of the backstory. You know, Clint Briggs is like, you're wanting me to like go through all these like horrible memories of my life. Like, you show up at my house, you got Marley there coming in with his chains, looking all old. He's played by Patrick Page, who's amazing. Patrick Page has been in a thousand things you've seen and would never like be able to place him, but that's exactly who he is. He's great in this. There he's like, you're doing all this stuff and you're not telling me anything about this. And at that point, the Ghost of Christmas Present decides to go off script. He's going to give him a little bit of his story because he was the only other unredeemable. And who was that? That was Ebenezer Scrooge.
That's right. I love how
Oh,
you
and the
know you
transition to London, amazing. They just go through a door and they come out in London. How great.
it's so great. They really do a great job of burying this hook. So you are actually, as an audience member, it's the first time I'd seen it. I was pleasantly surprised. I was a little confused because I was like, why is Marley in charge of this? And then I was like, oh, because Jacob Marley was the friend who tells
Hmm.
Ebenezer Scrooge in the original story. He's like, "Hey, you're going to be visited by three ghosts. I've got change all over me because I was a horrible person and now I'm in hell. Hey, don't be like me. You have a chance." And so then I was like, "Oh, well, maybe." That this is it. They, in the afterlife, they were like, all right, you've worn the eight chains. Maybe you saved your friend, but now you're going to be, your job is to be this corporate president of this ghost thing that happens every year, right? And that's like his penance. But now it makes sense because it's like, oh, they're friends and they're doing it together. And we've got the one who's been changed. Ebenezer Scrooge is like going through and he's front and center helping people, transition and become better humans, right? And it really brings home these questions that both of these main characters really have to ask themselves because when we find out that Ebenezer Scrooge is Will Ferrell's character, right? He says, "Well, how you were changed?" And he says, "Yeah." And then it was like, "Well, how long did you survive?" Because in the original story, he lived for years and he saved Tiny Tim, and they have a whole bit about that. And he became the most wonderful human on the planet. But in reality, in this version, he dies like 3.5 weeks
Yeah.
after he has the moment in his heart where his heart has changed. And so Will Ferrell's character, Ebenezer Scrooge, is worried that, if he quits being good and being this ghost of Christmas present, if he went back to being a human, if he had another chance to do that, would he be good? Would he actually have changed? Can a person actually change? And I think it's so interesting because the mirror of that is what Ryan Reynolds is questioning. Like, if you are, can people actually change? Has anybody actually changed? Is that even possible? Why
Mhm.
would I change? That sort of thing,
And of course, as Ebenezer Scrooge says in that instance, January was the leading cause of death back then, of course. So yeah, only lives at 3.5 weeks. But I love that they have as I made light of there at the top the Good Afternoon song and dance. I love that so much. They like blow up a building. This guy catches on fire, which is a little over the top. But the wall falls out, and Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell do like a tap number, and then like even after the fact, I think Ryan Reynolds is like, I've never done tap dance before. That was great. What a great artistic medium. And I love that so much. That's pretty fun. But they go and you have obviously you have the Christmas past, present, and future of Clint Briggs, which of course, right? This is his story. It's meant to be the redemption of him, but it's also kind of the validation of Ebenezer Scrooge because we also get to see the past, present, and future of Ebenezer Scrooge, right? We go back to London in this section that we're just discussing as his past, right? Like how he got to the point where he was having to go through the original Christmas Carol tale. There, he gets the Ghost of Christmas Present, which I'm going to come back to here in just a second. But you even get the Christmas future of Ebenezer Scrooge because in like after the very opening number, he pulls out like I don't know this little like Star Wars holocron kind of thing, and it like pops up with his little family and his little house and things that he wants. Those are the things he can look forward to when he retires. But yeah, he's scared. He's scared to retire because he doesn't know if he's actually good or not, right? Like maybe he got like hoodwinked for 3 weeks, and anyone could be nice for 3 weeks, says Clint Briggs. But Will Ferrell also is being paid some respect here in the Ghost of Christmas Present because he's meeting potential love figure Kimberly, played by Octavia Spencer. She's like the right hand of Clint Briggs, right? Like he follows her
Mhm.
or she follows him into this career of slandering and like marketing and like media persuasion and all that stuff, all that terrible things that you associate with the internet. That is what Clint Briggs is doing, and that is what Kimberly is doing as his like sidekick in there. But she is having a crisis of faith, a crisis. Of conscious here in this instance as they're looking into this as kid so like his like niece can become class president. Feels a little smarmy, and Kimberly is not that into it, but maybe she's into Ebenezer Scrooge here. I love that she can see him, and apparently that's like a power that these ghosts have. If you want to be seen, you can just turn it up a notch, and people can see you. But I love that. I love this little like romantic kind of interest here between Kimberly and Ebenezer Scrooge. That's very sweet. That's very nice. They become very quickly sort of like infatuated with each other, and Clint Briggs is going to pick up on that, and that's going to really propel the story here into the direction of Ebenezer Scrooge. So I love that. Let's talk about Kimberly's arc here a little bit because it's worth talking about because she's played by Octavia Spencer, who is a gift, national treasure. Octavia Spencer, go see anything she's in, including this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's amazing. Again, I didn't know she was a singer. I mean, she seemed to
I did.
be
She could do
uh,
anything. She's amazing.
she she is amazing. She is amazing. I love her in this. I love, and again, spoiler warning, one of the things that I find most amazing about this film and that really impressed me is that we're focused on Ryan Reynolds, Clint Briggs character's transformation, right? We're like, he's an unredeemable. We're going to work on him. He's going to confront his past. He's going to live with his present. He's going to try and change things in the future, right? And he has a niece who he doesn't know what to do with. She doesn't live with him. His sister, before dying, wanted to give him to her. And he was like, nah, I'm too selfish for this. I can't do it. Give her to my younger brother. My younger brother, he's so sweet. Not the brightest bulb maybe on the Christmas tree, but just the sweetest heart. And he defends his brother all the time behind his back and says, you don't know what it was like for him growing up. It was really tough. That's why he's so cynical. And he's just so giving and kind to his niece. But we watch that transformation of Clint, and what we miss until the end is Kimberly's transformation because spending time with the Ghost of Christmas Present, Will Ferrell, is very it really opens her eyes because she knows what she's doing is wrong. She knows that she should quit. And like the last straw is when Clint's niece wants help with the school student council, and rather than being like, hey, I'll help you write a speech or maybe we can do something towards that, right? He's like, Clint's like, yeah, I'll find dirt on your sixth grade competition and let's spew it all over the internet. That sounds like a great idea, right? And he finds something that's pretty benign, when he was like, I don't know, 9 or 10, this kid was like, I'm at a homeless shelter at Christmas. This blows. I don't like it. And he gives her this video clip that she can go and post on the internet for, without regard to, anything about anything. It's pretty gross. And Octavia Spencer's character is like, yeah, I don't feel good about this. This is a child. This seems wrong. But then, and she has that whole musical number, but then she doesn't give in to what she knows is right, right, until the very, very end of the film. And I really love watching her transformation because it kind of happens while we're paying attention to something else. And so while you think that the person that's being changed is Clint, it's also Kimberly. And I really love it's like a 2-for-1 deal here at Christmas time during this version of the Christmas Carol.
Yeah, I really like that, and I like kind of when Clint comes to the realization that that's bad, right? Because something very bad happens to this kid in the telling of the Ghost of Christmas Future, right? And they even make kind of mention of that. Ebenezer's like, oh, there was a kid and mine too that died. That wasn't great. So they talk about that a little bit, and then Clint's running out of the house. He has to go stop his niece from posting this thing, right? He has come around a little bit to it, and at this point, Ebenezer Scrooge Goes to Christmas Present has is like, oh yes, you've come around, you've made the change. The time has come, right? So they get there, they get to this ice skating rink, which is really cool because it's on like the rooftop of this building there, and he ends up not getting to his niece kind of in time, but yeah, lo and behold, Kimberly has already talked her out of doing that. She comes through, and Ebenezer Scrooge at this time, right? He's like, all right, everyone's gonna come out, we're gonna start singing again. It's gonna be great because now you've been redeemed, and Clint's like, not really. He's like, I was doing this one bad thing I decided not to do. He's like, and yeah, I'll feel like good about it for like a day, and then I'm going to go back to exactly what I was doing before, and I'll keep rationalizing it because that's what people do, right? You make your decisions, and then you rationalize them, good, bad, or otherwise. And Ebenezer Scrooge he's had it at this point. He's like, man, I thought that was it. I don't understand. So they go and they have like a little heart to heart kind of thing, right? And talking there on the streets. And it's about that time Ebenezer Scrooge decides to take matters into his own hand and run out through traffic, leaving Clint to make that decision, right? They're bros now. You gotta save your bro. You're just gonna let him get hit by that bus, and right as the bus is coming through, to take Clint out of there, lo and behold, the music starts to play. The ghosts come out, and Clint has been redeemed, as it turns out. And all you can do really, and Clint says it best, is you can get up every day and try to be a good person, and that's all you can do. That's all he can do, and that's all we can do, Michaela.
That's all we can do. And it's pretty amazing actually because we're like, oh, you changed, and they come out, and he ends up, he realizes that he himself, Clint, is now also a ghost because he sacrificed himself for his friend. Um, and so he didn't get a chance to like really live his life as if it were changed. Very similar to Ebenezer Scrooge's character in this film, right? And so it kind of turnabout's fair play. It kind of comes full circle where it's like, well, now that you're a changed spirit, how are you going to live your afterlife, as well? And it's like, well, it's the same way that you would live your before life or your living life on earth. Like every day you're just going to try and be better than you were the day before. And I think that is so cool. This concept had really never been explored, I don't think, in any other film around Christmas, where it's like, you even in Scrooged, you think that this person's just their heart's going to be completely changed and they're going to be a completely new person. And I don't know how realistic that really is, right? But I love the song that they sing and the words that they talk about and the words that they use in the lyrics where they're like, look, everybody has bad days, everybody has good days. You just got to keep going and keep trying, to be the person that you are supposed to be. And that's really it. That's the best you can do. And if you can do that enough, then the world can actually change, which is really amazing and heartfelt, and probably a more realistic view of what should be happening, rather than just expecting, oh, this person has a change of heart and now they never do anything wrong, again. And I really love that. And again, there's the singing and the dancing, which is just ridiculous and over the top and great. And then as they end the whole thing, they bring out the reprise. We don't know which pronunciation that is, but the last song is the first song again, and it's amazing. And that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. But
The last song is the first song, which is really cool. I do like that. Immediately you're like, oh no, Clint dies, right? Clint dies. Spoiler warning. There, and you're like, that's terrible, but it's okay because there are some loopholes we've learned, right? As we learned from uh, Will Ferrell's Ghost of Christmas Present, that if you want to be seen by people, you can make that happen, right? So he goes and he pays a visit to Kimberly and to Ebenezer there at their house with their kids. He's back uh, in the backyard helping to build a play set and kind of things, and runs that through him. So he can make himself be shown to Kimberly. That's nice. He can obviously still pay a visit to Ebenezer and to the kids there. That's nice. That's good. He's getting to be with his sister now, right? Who you get the hints of through, and then a very emotional scene there at the hospital that they probably had kind of a strained relationship, given her kindness and Clint's outlook on life, I guess. There's probably some strain there, but gets to make amends and spend time with his sister because now he is the ghost of Christmas Present. And he's kind of running the
mm,
operation just as we'd seen Ebenezer Scrooge did, and we learned from Ebenezer Scrooge that there is kind of a loophole, right? So you do enough good deeds here in the afterlife, working in this ghost factory, then you get another shot, right? You get a gold watch, and you get to go back to life, right? To live out the rest of your days. So we can look forward to that for Clint Briggs here in this instance. And about then, you get the final musical number, which comes in, and it's going over the credits, right? As it does, that Christmas morning feeling, which is great because it's going through like all of the sets, which is wild to me. And like watching it, I'm like, this is amazing, and I love this so much that it's going back through, and you're seeing all the sets like being put back together. But I'm like, they had to have like filmed this like while they were filming that section and like thought about it with like enough foresight to get that scheduled. That's wild that they were able to do that. But then I always talk about Michaela crying at all these movies, but at the very end of this, and the camera swings around, and you get to see the whole crew that made this movie and how happy and joyous they look singing. And this was probably the first thing that any of these people did who love making movies more than anything in the world for like 2 years, as everything had been shut down. Didn't know if you'd ever get to do it again, all that
mhm.
stuff. Every time I see the cast and crew, and I'm like, ooh, ooh, turned off, can't handle it. My little heart can't take it. It's amazing. Um, let's talk about the movie, just kind of in general. Any highlights or lowlights? I will say the movie is pretty long. It's like 2 hours and 7 minutes. It doesn't feel long. I think I've watched it now a couple of times. It felt longer to me. It probably didn't feel quite as long to you, maybe because the story keeps moving at a pretty good clip, but it is a little bit long. It's I think perfect because the songs are catchy and fun, and there's enough like comedic moments to it, and like the set pieces of it are so interesting that it would be like perfect to put on just in the holidays when you're doing like other stuff around your house, cooking, cleaning, wrapping presents, that kind of stuff. But I guess what were your takeaways of the film? And I'll make one last note here. Important piece of film history right now. Judi Dench. This was her last acting thing she ever did. She gets made mention of in a song back in London, and then you see her walk through, and Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell turn around, and they're like, "Was that her?" And it turns out it was actually her. This was the last thing that she did. So
That was the last thing she did. Yeah, oh man, this film, I love this movie. I got to tell you. So my day, I watched this last night. I had never seen it before. I had a very long day yesterday, so I got to be honest. I was not looking forward for 2 hours and 7 minutes of film time. I thought I would probably stop it halfway through and go to sleep and wake up in the morning and watch this before we recorded. I looked up and the movie was over before I even like realized I was halfway through my drink. Like I it went by so fast to me. I didn't feel the length at all. Now maybe that'll change after I see it multiple times, which I will be doing because this is now becoming a Christmas staple. I love this movie so much. Um, I mean, it's not perfect, for sure, maybe, but it seems pretty perfect. And it is such a great story of what it took to make this movie, what had to happen in order for it to be done as well as it was. The story itself, which is different than how it was made, is also incredible. The writing is great. I mean, all of the little tips, kind of Easter eggs and paying of homage to different Christmas movies throughout the whole film is just amazing. At the end, all when you see everybody who'd made the film, I don't think people remember, because COVID, when people say COVID, we feel like that was a 3 to 5 year thing that everybody just kind of went through. But I don't think people really realize how terrifying it was for so many industries. And even ourselves, right? Like
Yep.
there were periods of time where I never thought I was going to see you again, Brian.
Yeah.
Like we were like, this could be the end. This could be it. I mean, people were trying not to panic, but it was very scary. And then when it was like, well, the world's not going to end, but like it's going to be irrevocably changed. Does this mean that we're going to be able to do the things that we loved and like see movies and listen to music and have an art form and all of that, and to have that be something that you also depended on in order to survive financially in your life? Like it's so great. And so it was such a nice reminder to be grateful for the things that you have as well. Like as you're watching these credits, I don't know. I don't know. I loved it so much. It's emotionally like driven. It's great for kids. Like my son thought it was great. I don't know. It was amazing. And I'm sad that I missed it when it came out in 2022. I'm sad I didn't have these three past Christmases to see it, because I'll bet you I'm gonna at least watch it one more time this season, and this is gonna make it on my list forever. It's so good. Everybody should go watch it. And it has redeemed my faith in present day Christmas movies that they can be amazing, because this is a good one. There haven't been very many great ones out there, but this one's great.
Well, there you go. Love to hear that, because I was a little concerned, honestly, because I like this movie quite a bit. My wife and I are fans of Will Ferrell, and I know that Will Ferrell is kind of divisive in how you take him and see him in his movies. And I don't think that you're like the hugest Will Ferrell fan, but I will say about the movie, I think Will Ferrell is less of like the caricature of Will Ferrell that you kind of associate with him in movies. And Ryan Reynolds is the caricature of himself that you think about when you think about Ryan Reynolds in movies. Like he's more so than Will Ferrell in this. But I think that it's very lighthearted. The story is good. It's very charming, and yeah, I mean I like it a lot. And yeah, when it pans back to the whole crew standing there, one of them's holding a pug. I have to love it there. 5 stars. But yeah, it's just so joyous. And like not only that, coming on the tail end of this big shutdown that we just been through, it also just reminds you of like, I mean, because there's hundreds of people there, like how many people it takes to make something like this come together, and just how much love and joy they have doing it. So every time you go see a movie and you get online and say how terrible it is, that's the people that you're saying it to. So, it's a good reminder for that, right? It's not all box office dollars, and this thing cost $500 million to make, and now it's gonna flop because it only made $400 million. That's certainly the dollars and cents side of it, but making movies is about more than that, and I think that's a good reminder too, just for general movie watching. So that is Spirited. It's really fun. If you have an Apple TV Plus subscription, definitely throw it on. I mean, it's definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it, or like I said, go ahead and throw it on, because those tunes are catchy. The acting is really good. It's a star-studded cast there. You'll have fun with it, I think. So check that out, and check out the Jack Frost Old Fashioned. Grab some Jack Daniels and mix one of those up, or if you have a good winter cocktail we need to know about, definitely let us know that. You can let us know that on our social medias. It's at hopefully Clint Briggs is not in charge of our social media, on a side note. I am, and Michaela is, so let us know there. So it is at Drink the Movies on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Facebook.com/Drink the Movies. If you want to check out episode recaps, recipes, links to the merchandise shop, to Drink the Video Games, all that stuff, that can be found on our website. It's www.drinkthemovies.com. Go there. You can see all the Christmas films we've done up to and including Spirited. Check that out. We appreciate that. And we appreciate our patrons. They are at patreon.com/drinkthemovies. Go there. We have bonus stuff. We have hangouts. We have live streams where we talk about cocktails and movies. That's a lot of fun. And we appreciate our patrons over there so much. Again, that is patreon.com/drinkthemovies. Michaela, we've got a couple more Christmas movies next week, even even one that some people might not know is a Christmas movie, but it totally is. Batman Returns. We're going to be talking about that, I think, next week. So, where can people get tuned in to the podcast aside from where they're listening right now? You could listen to us lots of places. Where are those?
You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Good Pods. You can find us, gosh, we're gonna start doing some YouTube stuff next year, maybe. It's gonna be
Yeah.
amazing. Anywhere where Spotify podcasts are supported and distributed, we do 2 drops a week. We talk about the box office, and then we do our deep dives like the one you listen to right now. If you're into video games, I urge you, I implore you, go listen to like the number 2 podcast, video game podcast that's been rated that way for months and months and months. It's called Drink the Video Games, and Brian does an amazing job with it. I pop in to give you a nice drink and send you on your way, but it is awesome. You're in your Star Wars series, right? So there's a new one coming out, or it came out.
Just came out with season 4, talking about beat 'em up video games from
Beat 'em up
back
video games.
back in our childhoods all the way up to today. So that just released last week, so you can check that out. Yeah, on Drink the Video Games, either on YouTube or on any of the podcast feeds. Just search Drink the Video Games, or like I said, the link is going to be on the website as well.
Awesome. Yeah, we that it's amazing. Even if you're not like the biggest video game fan, I love learning about it because I knew nothing about it until I met Brian. So that's been really cool. Yeah, so that's if you like our stuff, you can always like our episodes. You can leave us 5-star reviews, any of that stuff. Post us on all your social media. We love our audience members. And if you have any comments or recommendations for drinks or movies to watch, let us know because I'm in the middle of making my 2026 calendar that we're then going to change up and move around on Drink the Movies. But I like to have a nice calendar ahead of time. If you have any requests, let us know because it really helps us get all the Drink the Movies goodness out there.
Absolutely. So that is going to wrap it up for episode 246, Spirited. Fire up Apple TV, give it a watch, make a Jack Frost old fashioned, and we'll talk to you next time on
Drink
Drink
the
the
Movies.
Movies.
You've been Christmas caroled. It's like the best. I love the ghost of what's yet to come. He's amazing. He's like, I never get to talk. I just point and go, come here.
All I can do is point at stuff. Is he talking about me? I think he's talking about me.